Celebrities and influencers lead fancy, glamorous lives. Or so we think.
Oh.
I don't know.
Oh.
But musicians though. I mean, if you're not Kanye or Justin, it might be a different story.
Okay.
Local musicians, how do they do it? Why do they do it? And when? That's not the right question. But you know what the right question is? Is it time for another episode of Table Talk? Wow, that was one of my better ones.
What an intro.
I cannot really clap that.
You can't clap.
Because I feel that was a bit...
Okay, well.
Okay.
I thought it was...
It's Monday morning.
Monday morning, Joe-san.
Top in the morning.
Morning.
Okay, yeah, here we go.
We've got a brand new podcast for you guys today. I mean, that's why that's why you're here.
Yes.
Brand new.
Yes.
Brand new. And we've got one of the most talented individuals in Malaysia with us
Southeast
right now.
Asia, arguably.
Come on.
I didn't know Jeremy was on the list, to be honest.
Jeremy,
No, sorry.
Shout out to
You got the wrong person. I'm sorry.
we have David Soh with us in the studio today.
My God. Okay.
For real, doesn't know who David is. It's all right because that's why he's here today.
How
he's
can
going to
you
share
not
a bit
know?
of love
How can you not know? If you were born in the generation of David Soh, you know who David Soh is.
I honestly agree.
The generation of Soh.
Yeah.
Soul food.
Okay, that's...
Soul food.
Yeah.
What's with all of these?
That should be your Silk Sonic. All right, in the great words of Ming Han.
All right. Who you, what you do?
Who am I? What do I do? My name is David,
That's
and
nice.
I'm a musician.
Okay.
I work as a musician. I've been working as a musician for about 6-7 years right now.
Wow. That's not something you hear every day.
Yeah.
Say one
know,
time.
right?
Working as a musician.
Yeah, meaning like I pay the bills by playing music.
Oh, I thought
That's
you
crazy.
You don't teach in Yamaha or something like.
Okay, so in a nutshell, what I do is the bulk of my work actually is I play for weddings.
Yep.
Amen.
Play for weddings.
Amen.
That's the bread and butter.
That's where the
money
Gucci
bags.
bling bling LV
Sort of.
Picasso.
The Petaling Street one lah. You know?
Okay.
He's real.
Okay.
He's real.
That be real? That be real? Okay.
And I also play just on a regular basis, normal gigs as well. Anything from my own material to covers to corporate shows to bars.
Speaking of which, David just recently came back from his, I want to call it a Southeast Asian tour.
Tri-country tour.
I don't know, like tri-country tour of Malaysia, Singapore and Thailand.
Wow.
Yeah.
With Boys Like Girls. So congratulations,
Whoa.
David. That's crazy.
Thank you.
Okay, like, can I just take a moment to talk about this? Because Boys Like Girls used to be my... They're like...
our
I looked up
teenage
to them
jam.
so much, you know. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like when we perform, right, we would do so many Boys Like Girls songs.
But of course, like 5 keys lower.
5 keys lower.
It's okay, they also do 3 keys lower now.
Yeah, you see, we're not that different after all. But no, how was the experience? Did you like Boys Like Girls?
I love Boys Like Girls. Like, honestly, one of my favorite songs is Be Your Everything.
Oh,
wow.
yeah.
Yeah, that's a
Wow.
great song.
Everything. I know how. Why do I know all the songs?
Yeah, no,
oh my gosh.
I was kind of hoping maybe Thunder or Great Escape, you know, but okay, Be Everything is pretty good as well.
Yeah, I gotta go with my vibe. you
Yes,
know?
yes, yes.
Right,
yes.
right.
I'm
So
not a great...
so you went. So okay, we don't need to talk about how it happened, but it happened.
Yeah.
Was it surreal?
Absolutely surreal.
Wow.
Like you would never think that playing these songs as a teenager, you know, covering these songs, that one day you'd actually get to open for these guys. And they're actually the most humble, down-to-earth guys ever.
I love
honestly.
it.
Dude, the guy's talented, man.
The guys.
He can write a literal every song hit on one album. That's disgusting, you know.
It's mad lah, dude.
Oh my
it's mad.
gosh.
And like I don't know, like for me, because maybe because we're older now, right? We don't think so much about like the kind of like, oh, I used to cover their songs at school and stuff like that, right? Now it's hard to cover Kanye in school. You just can't.
Yeah, I feel
You know?
bad
You
for the
can't cover
bands
songs
nowadays.
anymore.
You can't cover songs anymore.
Yeah.
Unless it's like a rare one, which is like what
The only covers you're doing are TikTok dance covers.
yes.
Hey, it doesn't feel the same
30
again.
seconds.
Yeah.
Actually, what do people cover nowadays? I know recent, like, no, this is not even recent anymore because TikTok music moves so fast, right? What's that song, In the Middle of the Night? That's like the
one?
latest one that I know
The
best.
Stranger Things one.
Well, how
Like,
does that
in
go?
the middle of the night, in the middle of the night.
Oh,
That
so I
one.
also don't know. Bro, you're more of a TikToker than me.
Oh,
bro.
I am damn TikTok, man. Don't call me TikTok
Yes.
hard nowadays.
I only know that one was that's
What?
the sea shanty.
Okay, I know what goes viral on TikTok is like the older songs. They will take like one catchy chorus and then everybody will just do it over and over again.
There's this whole thing where they make fun of people, right? They actually play the whole song for people, and then kids nowadays like, what's this song? I'm like, that's where it came from.
They know the chorus and then it goes to the verse. Everybody.
Oh my gosh.
It's
And then-
more than 15 seconds.
I love it. They scold the artist for ripping off the cover artist, you know. Kids nowadays,
I'm not
I
sure.
tell you.
That's crazy.
Cue the Gen Z audience asking, who is boys like girls?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, there was a little bit of context because you actually started and ended the sentence right. He went to Thailand, then he did Boys Like Girls.
Yeah. Oh, sorry,
So, like,
that's
you
crazy.
had to-
No. Yeah. So
the
boys
context-
like girls.
Right.
For everyone who doesn't know who they are, you guys definitely too
Pop
young.
punk rock, guys.
Punk rock.
Soundtrack of
Pop
my
punk rock.
summer.
Yes. The
Great Escape of a Generation.
I feel like there was, so everyone knows, again, I say everyone with a pinch of salt.
People know.
Fall Out Boy,
Yeah.
right? That's like standard. And then there was like All American Rejects. So there are all these big bands,
Wow.
Simple Plan, Good
Yes.
Charlotte, right?
Yes.
And then there was like, at the end of that era, Boys Like Girls appeared.
These bitches came out of
And
nowhere.
they were good.
Oh my
And the lead singer,
donkey.
freaking Lang Jai, man.
Okay, all of them look the same, to be honest.
Okay,
right?
They all do the
they
same.
do it.
They all look the same.
I'm thankful that I
You
barely
were
hit
there?
that era.
So
Like-
you knew lah.
I listened to that shit like as growing up. But
I'm
it
so
was
happy.
like after me already, then
Gone already.
people like, oh,
If
Yeah.
you want to segue into something that people would know, you're basically saying these are the guys that did Two Is Better Than One with Taylor Swift.
Yes.
Yeah.
These are the guys.
Oh,
Two is better
The
than one with Taylor
achievement
Swift.
for a pop punk band to go with Taylor Swift.
Exactly.
It
Guys.
was quite hardcore. She was a fan of them, so she was like, let's do a collab. I love it.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
That was
Oh.
a drill. That was a
That
drill.
was crazy.
Come
But
on,
okay,
that was
back
a
to you, David.
Sorry.
Enough about boys likes girls. Boys like girls.
Thailand.
Boys likes girls. There's a lot of plurals in there. If you take
BLG.
it easy. BLG.
BLG.
Yeah.
Simple, BLG.
Yes.
Speaking of like, gigging, like, no, not even gigging, just like doing covers when you're young. How old were you when you started singing for a live audience?
Disgusting.
Oh.
Disgusting.
Okay, this is an interesting one. I think probably I started singing in front of people probably 13, 14.
Disgusting.
Maybe.
That's crazy.
Like your parents make you sing, right? Like, my son can sing
not,
it.
Not really, not really.
Or not that
I
kind
think
of. Okay.
I grew up singing in church.
yes.
Right.
That's a great
right.
place to start singing.
Yes.
Yep,
So-
no judgment. You know?
And and from there, I didn't think probably wasn't that good a singer then. I wanted to be a drummer then.
Okay.
Honestly,
Oh, wow.
I wanted to play the drums.
As we all young men,
Yeah,
they all just want to be drummers, yeah.
we all want to be drummers,
No,
you know.
don't guys, you'll damage your eardrums very fast. I just want to put it there.
And then the older I got, I picked up the guitar a little bit, and I realized that I was a bit better of a singer than I was a drummer. Not to say I was a bad drummer, but I could sing a little bit better than I could play the drums. And from there, I sort of started. I sort of got into the music scene in a bit of an unconventional way.
Oh,
I
please
guess.
tell.
So most people in the KL scene, they start off with open mics.
Oh,
You know, the usual open mics and the open mic spots.
Laundry.
You play there, you play, oh my
The
goodness,
Bee.
laundry. The
Laundry,
Bee.
Wow, the
dude.
bee.
You know,
The Bee.
great places.
Right.
But I sort of did it slightly different. I don't know how, but I got calls to play weddings at quite a young age. I probably started playing weddings at about 15, 16.
That's crazy, dude.
Yeah.
That means your voice must have been good enough
You're like
for people to want to hear it.
You're
at
like
a
the
wedding.
OST guy, right?
Yeah.
Like that's the approach, right? You know, some of the K-pop singers, they do
Ah.
OST. Suddenly one day they drop a single.
Yeah. It's you, bro.
Beautiful life. Sorry, yeah.
So
sorry,
you were
I'm
doing weddings at 15 already.
Yeah. So I started there. I started with like few family friends, you know, that kind
Wow.
of thing.
Yeah.
And it helped that I grew up in a really musical family.
Yeah.
So
Ooh,
I
ooh, ooh.
were you okay, brother?
This chair just
Music.
absolutely took me down, man. Okay, yeah.
I grew up in a musical family. So it gave me a very good overview of music. And my mom would always be telling me like, oh, you know, you can do this better, you can do that better. Not in a bad way,
Music
but
teacher?
no, but she can play most, like play
Damn,
piano, sing. I learned a lot of singing from my mom actually.
Okay.
A lot of my
Wow.
understanding of harmony came from my mom.
That's
Because
crazy.
growing up, singing along to any song, she would sing the harmony, and so it was sort of ingrained in my brain what the harmony was. So that helped me a lot as a musician as well.
Talented as heck.
Wow.
Shout out, auntie.
Shout out to
Shout out,
mom.
auntie. That's crazy.
mad.
And then, so I'm guessing after that, it was just like gigging. more and more?
Got into gigging. Slowly made a lot of friends. I think in the music scene and in church, it sort of intertwines. You get a lot of different opportunities. So somehow or other, like 7 years later, here I am.
So you actually knew our sister first.
Yeah.
You guys were in help together? No.
RBS?
So
No.
we did our O levels at around the same time.
Yes.
And your sister actually was helped tutor me for history.
Yes.
O levels?
Yeah, so we did our RGCSE O levels
Here,
at
right?
around the
Like
same
at
time. Yeah, pretty near. No, so not in the same center.
Okay.
We had a mutual friend.
Okay.
And that mutual friend was helping tutor me math, and I was doing history, and there's not a lot of students taking that subject.
Yeah.
Right.
So, and I knew I heard that your sister was taking that subject again, so I asked for a bit of peer tutoring.
Yeah.
So that's how we became friends.
So that's
essentially.
how like my mom would tell us, oh yeah, Mingli's teaching this boy history. Then I'm like, what?
Meaning
And then after that, I remember it was
Mingli
one
can
time.
teach.
Yeah, Mingli can teach.
She's
And
a
then-
great teacher, by the way.
And then there was one time you were in our house and there was a guitar there. And then like when you left and stuff, I was like, oh, he plays guitar. Then Mingli was like, yeah, he sings really well. And then after that, I think it was a couple of years after that, you came out with your single, Run Away.
Yeah, probably.
And I was like, what? This boy can sing.
Wow.
And then prior to that, she also showed me clips of like open mics, I think at
Yeah,
Jaya
probably
1 or
the
something like that.
B, yeah.
And I was like, wow, this who is this guy? He can really sing. And fast forward to today, I mean, besides, touring with BLG, this guy has got, we'll talk about more like what else you do on a daily, but
Okay.
I think for male singers in Malaysia, you have one of the more distinct voices. Like I would say you and Sek Hao have a very distinct voice. Like if I hear you guys anywhere, I know it's you already. And that's that I feel that's very signature of a singer, right?
Thank you. Yeah.
But like you said, doing this for 7 years now, how did you decide like because okay, I mean let's draw some parallels. Mingan and
I dished
way
that scene,
back in
man.
the year.
I dished it real quick.
Way back in the
I'm
year.
I remember some of this. The violin. I remember you're the violinist, right?
Danny was playing with us for a bit.
I
Yeah,
remember.
yeah.
Danny. Shout out Danny.
Shout out to Danny.
But way back then when we were doing covers and performing and stuff, Jeremy's really having a good time.
Why you having a good time back
I
then?
love it because I remember that scene because I was at the event.
Oh yeah, OMG.
I was
Yeah,
11
Danny,
years
but
old.
the thing is like, yeah, I mean, okay, I just side note lah. We knew as a cover band, right? You got violin or cello, wow, your band sound really damn
It's
good.
true.
Your ocean,
need-
your yellow card, bro.
Yeah. But no one can sing that shit lah. Let's be honest lah, okay?
But like for us, when we were, I think there's like this pocket of time, right? In high school, you're doing a lot of covers. You have this idea that I can do music. Then you buy a guitar, then you be like, oh, actually I can sing song. Oh. Then I buy a microphone, buy the equipment, and then it hits you after a while. You're like, actually, who want to hear me sing? And that's why
Yeah.
Mingan and I stopped doing music.
I stopped for a different reason. Like I think I'm very results oriented sometimes. Okay, when I focus into something, right? The biggest hurdle I saw was in our country, right? There was such a big prejudice against like local singers.
Yeah.
Like my friends, right? You want to ask them to come and see your open mic,
That's
like
true.
Have to back them up.
compared to like they will line up for Jay Chow tickets, no problem.
Correct.
You know?
Yeah, I
Very
mean,
true.
if you want to make it here, there's this understanding that you have to be like Siti Nohaliza, you have to be Jove Lizzo. And we're not,
ZRV.
lah. So it's a bit hard, lah, right?
And then because we join competitions or band competitions, we have a clear gauge of like that one talent. That one really talent. There's this prodigy in the church scene, right? His name is Nigel. Oh my
Nigel.
gosh.
Oh my goodness. I
That
grew up
one,
listening to him.
that one
Nigel's
we
crazy.
grew up so young, right? I look at him, like
We just
wow,
pack
Jesus,
up our stuff.
Jesus really bless you, that one. Like you no matter
Shout
how
out
much,
Nigel.
yeah.
Shout out
going,
to
man?
Nigel. Come
That
on.
was
doing
the
good in
understanding.
China.
We knew if we were in the same
He's here
competition,
now.
Oh, he's back here.
Yeah.
yeah.
Damn.
We knew that this is the level. This is talent.
We gotta get Nigel on the show, man.
My
For real.
gosh.
Sing China.
Nigel's
Come on.
crazy.
So
But,
that's the understanding. Then when we went into all the open mics, right, and we saw like, wow, this is a dog eat dog world, man. Like there was so little camaraderie, like in the mainstream open mic scene, and there wasn't any of like, because back then technology was still not as good as it is today, right? There was so little producers, for example.
Yeah.
People don't know how to make their own shit. Everyone had to depend on a few people, and it was like after maybe a year, 2 years of like doing open mics and trying to do covers, right? I look at me like, what? Actually, this is like
We're doing what?
we're doing what? We wanna people wanna don't even say lah, want to bask lah, because there was no such thing as a basking scene in Malaysia. How to make a future out of this?
Did you feel that? Maybe the time that changed. Like, did you feel like there's a bit of a discrimination that there's no real Malaysia boleh, that West is best when it comes to music?
Okay, I think I do get where you guys are coming from. I think the scene has definitely improved a lot since then. People I find right now are a lot more supportive.
Yeah.
But definitely I think there was a lot of within the scene kind of discrimination. So it's like the English scene will keep to the English scene, the Chinese scene will keep to the Chinese scene.
Right.
You know? And from there it's easy to feel like you're trying to compete with each other. But the honest truth is, right, the Malaysian music scene is not very, very big.
Yeah.
There's more than enough work to go around. There's more than enough gigs to go around. You know, it's just that people need to stop fighting each other to try and feel like you need to compete with each other. Because at the end of the day, if you're trying to compete with each other, the only person winning out is the venues who are getting you for cheaper.
Oh,
you know?
snap.
That's just the truth.
Crazy. That's crazy.
That's true.
I like that.
That's actually true. The Malaysian, because we don't have a union for creative stuff, right?
Yeah.
People will cut their rates one. Like
everybody will cut this one. I'll do it cheaper. You'll do it cheaper.
Just so that they can be there, right?
Yeah.
So I think that's crazy.
That's exactly the things. Then when we also, I think last time when we used to play covers, and then we discovered YouTube, and then I remember like back then the most disheartening thing was like we did YouTube, and then we saw that it was actually going somewhere. You actually get seen. We grew a bit faster than other people. Then a band, like a veteran band or something, will come in and talk to us like, "Hey, don't do covers on YouTube, no future." I'm like, so this is the support I've been hearing about. But then that's where we took a turn. And I guess it worked out. I mean, YouTube.
It did.
Surprise. We went from like a cover channel into the content channel, and the rest is history. But the heart has always been like what's going on now. You know, that's why, and then when the wave of you guys came up, Happy New Year, man. Happy freaking New Year.
Sorry, go ahead.
I've got something to say about like covers and stuff. So I think there's a lot of unhealthy stigma about playing covers, especially in the music scene. Everybody, even from when I started till now,
right.
There's this going of like, oh, you need to do original stuff. You need to have your own music. Anybody can play a cover. I heartily disagree. Not everybody can do a cover well.
Yeah.
I mean,
you can sing a cover.
Yeah, you can sing a cover. Anybody can sing a cover, but few people can do a cover and make it your own.
Yeah.
Where it's like, okay, that's you hear it and you may think of the main artist, but you also think of this cover that you heard because it's memorable. Yeah. And I think for me, my opinion on that is play the music that you love to play. If you love to play originals, play originals.
Yep.
If you love to play covers, play covers.
Yeah.
But as long as it makes you happy, that is what keeps me going as a musician.
Yeah.
The fact that I get to play the music that I love, and hopefully I can convince other people to love those songs as much as I love those songs.
Yeah, man.
And at the end of the day, if I've achieved that, I've achieved my goal.
Yeah.
Anything else on the side, original music, covers, whatever shows, that's just on the side.
Yeah.
As long as you enjoy what you do.
Yeah. I feel like it's a very, very clear indication of how strong that statement is, because like people have this opinion that if you're a musician, you need to have your own music, right? Up till now, we're all waiting for a second single, David. But David has one song, right? But David has had tremendous success. Not just as like, I've got one song, but that's a mindset that you don't confine yourself to. I feel like people have recognized you as this guy can sing. Full stop. There's no but. There's no but he only. There's nothing. It's just this dude can sing. And for everyone who doesn't know, I think we'll talk a bit more about like a 9 to 5 thing, like what you actually do on 9 to 5, right? Because choosing to be a musician, we say it's not the usual 9 to 5, which is interesting because musicians usually don't sing 9 to 5 because people are working at that time. so like, what are you doing 9 to 5, right? But David, you also still like sing. You do gigs on the weekdays, some of the weekends. You also sing in church.
Yeah,
and
I do.
I remember one of the first times I started going back to church, and I walked in and I was like, I know this voice. And I looked up on the stage and David was like smashing.
Speaking of which, we attended a wedding and I was like, I saw David doing the side of the lines. And the disappointment is just like, why aren't you singing? like can you imagine you turn up at a
He
restaurant?
came up to me. He was so upset.
Like,
he was
why?
so upset. It's
Like,
like,
what are you doing, bro?
This is your fault. This is all your
This is
fault.
your
I'm like,
fault.
I'm here to work, man.
My day is ruined. My soul is damned.
No, people don't understand. So, David, what do you actually do aside from being a musician?
All right.
You see, so it's actually not as simple. Like the thing that we're talking about is, can you be a musician 9 to 5? The answer is yes and no.
Yes.
So
Right?
what's the deal? How do you
How do
handle
you
it?
do it?
Yeah.
Okay. That's a very interesting question. I
Mhm.
think I've sort of I sort of fell into the musician life. I can't pick a certain time where I went, oh, I decided to be a musician at this point in time.
Yeah.
It sort of just it paid the bills, But I think the key to how it works for me, I won't be able to say for everybody else, but is diversification. I mean, coming out of a pandemic, we've had to do literally everything. I've worked different part-time jobs, dipped my toes in quite a lot of different things. I've done teaching, tutoring,
Yep.
vocal classes.
Yep, sounds
I
about right.
used to work as a freelance, as a producer in a creative agency
Sounds
as well.
about right. Yep.
You
The
know,
whole works.
You have to do a bit of everything to make a living.
Yeah.
Locally lah.
Yeah,
It's a real thing. You gotta prep your mind for that if you want to do this. Yeah.
And I've heard also from friends who are full-time musicians overseas, in places like the US and the UK, right? Being a musician there, right, it's not so simple as like, oh, this is my 9 to 5. No, you literally work a 9 to 5 so that you can go and play a gig that pays you less than what it costs you to get there because you love music so much.
That's wild.
That was life,
Yeah, that is, and a lot of people don't think of it that way. Everybody think, oh, musician, okay, you live like an influencer, like a superstar life. You just make music all day. It really isn't that simple if you're building from the ground up.
Yeah.
I did a lot of different things. I've a lot of different not side hustles, but like right before the pandemic, I went into events.
Yeah.
So because I play a lot of weddings, right?
Ooh.
That's the bread and butter of my work, and because of that, we get a lot of inquiries like, okay, since you're playing for this, does your band come with a sound system? And that's a good portion of money that if I don't take that job, I'm outsourcing to someone else, which I can. I've got the connections to do that. But I figured, okay, I can try and earn a bit more money. So I bought the equipment. I put together a team. And from there, it allows me multiple streams of income.
That hustling life, that business
You gotta hustle.
life.
Yeah, you gotta hustle.
Elon Musk,
I think that's the thing that also, for anyone who's listening in, like, there are tons of hopeful musicians right now. We're in that era where, our grandparents and our parents have laid down the foundations. They've done the 9 to 5. They've done the accounting into construction, then become a doctor and all these kind of things. We're in that paradigm of society where the artists are now flourishing, right?
Yes.
And then the economic recession is about to happen. But what I'm going to say is, people don't realize that being a musician in Malaysia, especially in this region, right? There is no such thing as like, I only sing and make music.
Yes.
Right?
And if you do that, you have very rich parents.
Yeah.
That's the truth of it. That's the unfortunate
You're not
truth,
wrong.
bro.
You are not
It's
wrong.
true. It's true.
But it's also like the goal. Like that's
Yes.
how you know
Yeah.
you've made it as
It's
a
true.
musician, right?
It's true.
Where you can let go of everything else and you want to focus on your next album, right?
But okay, I'd like to give a bit on that, There's a lot of pressure that comes with that as well.
yes.
Because
Right.
suddenly your whole goal is just tied to what you make,
Right.
Right.
Rather
than where's the enjoyment? If you enjoy doing that, sure. But a lot of people I know whose job is to just do that, right?
Right.
It's so stressful.
I mean,
your whole big portion of your identity is tied to what is coming up next.
you preaching to the choir, bro. No, I mean,
rough
but
stuff.
that's the thing. Like because when we went into this content, it's still creative content, and we have the avenue to like, okay, now we are known to just make this. Let's focus on this. But as usual in Malaysia, you got to do the brand jobs, you got to do the side hustle,
Yeah.
you got to show up at events, you got to do the stuff lah. And then you realize like, actually, what a lot of creatives in our region don't have is the business side of it. Which is in this era, which is kind of tricky, right? Because now as a musician in the TikTok era, you don't just have to make your craft, you got to sell your craft.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Right?
Yes.
And the people who fail to sell their craft start blaming it or like I don't have any support.
Yeah, it's a very, I feel like what you've talked about, laying down that ego of being I'm an artist, I'm a musician. I'm not gonna go and do backline at events. I'm not gonna do this stuff. Dude, you show up and you put in the work, put in the effort, and like you said, at the end of the day, it's still your love for music, right? And I think that's the thing that carries you through. Is that also the reason why you were so confident with saying, I'm not gonna get a normal job. I'm gonna do this, and your family was supportive as well.
Oh, okay. That's an interesting one. So my family has always been very, very supportive. I've been living independently away from home since I was 17, since high school, you know. And I'm
Wait, this guy is independent AF, man.
Where your family?
Who run the world?
No, I mean, so I'm the oldest of 5 kids.
Oh,
you know.
Sorry, what? 5 kids?
5 kids, yeah. And I didn't go to university or college. So right after O levels, I sort of dived into freelance work, you know, volunteering in church. And all that gave me a good foundation.
Wow.
Like, okay, you know, this is you work, you gain experience. Right. Church played a very, very big part in teaching me just the ins and outs of music.
And life.
And discipline.
Okay.
And I think just the practice of singing in front of people.
Yes.
You know, that's a very, very big thing as well. And developing yourself as a musician as well. So going back into the family thing, I've been independent since then, and I had to work all these different jobs to keep going.
That's crazy.
I think that's what people don't have here, right? They don't have an all or nothing mindset.
Oh, that's what it is.
Right? Because like a lot of people don't have the same push. You get what I mean? If you're doing it on the side, you always treat it as a side.
Yeah.
Right? You always know that I have a plan B. I'm not gonna, you give yourself an excuse like there's a way out, or I don't have to, it might fail. But when you're doing it because this is it, the stuff that comes out of you is also different. You think?
True.
Wow.
It was quite organic.
Yeah.
It was quite organic because, like, on one hand, every Asian parent wants their kid to go to college, go to uni, you know. But for me also, I realized, like, as the older sibling, I had to sort of prioritize as well. Like, I've got 4 siblings.
So you're the oldest?
Yes, I'm the oldest. So I have four siblings, and I felt at that point in time when the time came for me to decide, okay, do I want to go to college or not? I realized that I was already earning enough money, like, to take care of myself.
Yeah.
So if I were to go to college, it would just be something to sort of make my parents happy. Yeah. But at the same time, they were okay if I did or didn't.
Yeah.
They were okay with it.
Oh,
and I realized, like, okay, if I can help give my siblings this opportunity, whatever, then I would rather give them that priority rather than just doing it for the sake of doing it.
Yeah.
You know, because it's not like I wasn't able to support myself as is.
Correct.
Wow.
You know?
That drive you have at 16 is very different though.
Yeah.
I think at 16, people just want to mess around
16
and play.
years old, I'm just like, how come my internet is not connecting? I'm playing one wrong,
Wow, that came from a really real place at Germany. My internet. I don't know. That's 16 years old problems. I don't know. Wow, that's a
Jeremy, would you do that? Would you, okay, let's say you wanted to start dancing again.
Oh, come on.
Not dancing. I'll admit, actually, at one point, because I did choir last time.
Yes.
So
Jeremy was in a global choir.
It was not a global choir.
United choir.
Global
United
choir.
What is it?
It was basically we represented the country in a way. I won't go too detail, but I will talk afterwards about what the choir was.
Wow.
But I was in that choir, so we traveled to a bit of countries, paid. I didn't have to pay any money. But back then, because I thought I could sing, I was like, I want to make covers. And that was the same time around like when YouTube was a thing.
Yeah.
And that's why I was exposed to YouTube at a very young age. So I was like, I should just make covers. Then I told my dad, I want to buy a mic. So his friend who went to the US said, okay, I'll get you a condenser mic. I was like, wow, excited. Then
How old were you?
I was like 11 or something.
11 with the condenser?
11
You know how much I had to save to buy my own condenser, which is still in the studio to this day.
Haven't. So when in my head, I was thinking the condenser mic's like what we have here, right?
It's the pathway
the pathway to become big, right?
It's a lightsaber.
When I got the mic, it was this tiny USB mic that clips to the top of your webcam. And it was not a condenser mic. And I was like, oh, that's the mic. It's like, yeah, that's a condenser mic. But it's the one that clips on top of the webcam.
Oh, so the mic is condenser.
It's a condensed mic.
So I was like, oh, that was it. Then I was like, okay, it at least had better audio than headset mic and all.
Right.
But it was a bit, you know, when you wanted something, like you had an expectation, but then this
You
the
wanted
reality.
this right. You wanted this right.
Yeah.
You wanted that.
I couldn't. I'll admit, right? So I don't know why, but it came with a shock. What was that?
shock
filter.
mount, a shock
pop
mount.
filter. So I
For the
would
small thing, right? The pop filter
Yeah,
like
I'll
that.
clip that to something, a stick or something, so that I could do that effect where I could talk. But that was like a very strong core memory that I have.
I love that. That's such a great memory, dude.
I want to ask, how many times did you use that mic?
Oh, so it actually pivoted to I cannot sing and I don't think I hate listening to myself sing. Then I just said I make YouTube gaming videos.
Oh, he was
with that
really
mic.
good at that.
Then I did that for a
He
while.
blew up, man.
But you see, like okay lah, not just on the topic of music, right? You have to try something creative that will lead you into what you actually realize you're
Yeah.
good at.
Yes, totally.
Right?
Yeah.
Like, yeah, I mean, Uncle did you real dirty though.
Your father's friend, hey, shame on you. Oh. You cheat this young boy.
I think everyone has their first microphone story. I don't know if it's a thing, right? When I finally got my condenser mic and it showed me what I really sound like, I'm like, boy, do I sound like shit.
Yes.
Man, do I
agree.
sound like shit.
There's live musicians and there's studio musicians, and there's
Oh
a
my
very big
gosh.
difference between the both of those.
Yeah.
You are a true, you're a live musician. There is no hiding the fact. You sound great on record, but oh my lord, that's also because we've only heard you one time on record lah. But I'm just doing this so your girlfriend has more ammo to shoot you with.
This one really.
I
But
would
it's true.
say that I am a better live musician because I learned how bad I sounded in the studio.
That's crazy.
But that was the most motivating part.
Yes.
Because you don't have live all the time.
It is
You have to hear your shit all the time.
Yeah.
And I'm not the most tech savvy, so I suck at producing. Wow, man, I really sound bad. And to push through that shit, right? Oh my god.
It's rough. I mean, this one is like a not underground project. I've been working on a couple of songs.
Come on lah.
And like we're finally freaking done with like a few tracks. And I remember like coming back into the studio after not singing for 4 years.
Yes.
Dude, it's mad. And then like how my producer will be like,
See him at the side there.
he'll record it, then he stop. Ming, what do you think? Nah, I'm just like,
You ever got a producer?
I think it
before?
sucks, bro.
When you sing, right? You can see him at the recording, right? You sing, Sunny like that.
no. Thankfully, he's been so gracious. Like Sega is so gracious, right? Because and I feel so humble all the time because Sega is an amazing singer.
Phenomenal.
Like Sega's voice is like even Cesare is like, wow, this guy is damn good.
Shut up,
Right?
Sega.
He's freaking good. And
Stop it.
And for me,
Stop
this
it, man. Stop it.
like coming back, right? There's a lot of fear, there's a lot of anxiety because sometimes I guess this is just a creator thing in general, right? You feel very like tied to your what you can do and what
Yes.
you can't. And when you can't do what you would want to do, wow, it feels bad, man.
When
Feels bad.
you realize that you don't sound like shucks, now I can't remember the guy's name. When you don't sound like the Black Parade, when you don't sound like My Chemical Romance, you don't sound like the Click 5, you don't sound like NSYNC. The first time your own voice touches your ears, man.
You just want to warm it.
Wow, I sound like trash.
Have
It's
you
real.
ever wanted to just stop?
Yeah, of course.
repeatedly?
All the time. All the time. I think it's this is an interesting one. I think a lot of times we're intimidated by talent. You know,
Wow.
I think for me in the music scene, right, when I meet people, especially some musicians who've been playing for a really long time, like I just feel unworthy to be even in their vicinity.
Yeah.
When I hear how good they are.
Yeah.
You know, but you forget that these are just people.
It's just people.
You and people are supportive, people are nice, people are willing to learn, people are willing to teach, and also people believe in you. You know, the truth is, if you're good, people will believe in you, and sometimes you need to bank on that.
Yeah.
You know,
Oh, that's a very good
to
point.
sort of get you through that.
Yeah.
You know, and for me, I realized that the more I met my heroes, my musical heroes, right, I could sort of draw my confidence from what they think of me rather than what I think of myself. Because if I go based on what I think of myself, I would not be here today. I would not be singing.
Wow.
I wouldn't be doing anything. But I think the one thing that I would say that I do, which I feel helps me be a better musician, is every time I play or every time I sing, right? I'm not thinking, okay, this was bad. I'm thinking, okay, what can I do to sound better? In a practical sense, so it's step by step. You know, when I listen to when I listen to anybody sing, also I'll be like, okay, you have to take the plus. So you'll be okay, this sounded good, that sounded good. Then you have to go, okay, this needs to change. Maybe this should sound a bit different. It should sound a bit deeper. You know, maybe you could have a bit more clarity in that phrase. And when you can go based off that, it helps you be a better musician.
I was just gonna ask you, like, what are some sweet advices you can give to some budding and young musicians? But I feel like that was it, man. Guys, just take it one step at a time. See what you can improve, right?
God. Because as long as you have that mindset of you're always learning.
Yeah.
There's literally so much that we haven't been able to pick up on. You know, and when you have that mindset, then you're better equipped to go further. Rather than trying to compete and going like, okay, I'm not that good, but at least I'm better than that person. You know? You don't want to get stuck in that comparison.
Disgusting. I remember I was sitting down in Singapore with literally probably the most amount of talent in one single room. And because it's like, there was a very rare chance. It was like Charlie Lim, Ben King, Cesare.
I love you, Charlie.
Like this three in the same room, you know. So Charlie, Ben, Cesare, right?
We were just in the hotel room eating Burger King.
Yeah. And you know what's the crazy part? You would think that this tier is a different level, right? They're all worried about the same things. Like this song I've been working on, I never released. And I'm just listening to them. And then I'm like,
can you shut up?
I think because I remember I'm also the kind that I'll just speak my mind. I remember telling them like, why you all think your song so important? Tomorrow the world will die if you release like this. And then they're like, oh shit. Then it just comes back to the same thing. Like the only one worried about the song is you.
It's actually,
right? And about your craft is you. The thing is, and here's the best part, right? Because when we transitioned from music into YouTube, right, my amount of anxiety and worry was less when it came to visual content.
It's true,
I cared less. But because I cared less, I put out more. And
Totally agree.
was the total difference of everything, right? Like, you would think that I care less means it's less quality, but people just enjoy it the same. People don't see it through the same lens as you do. And people just want to watch and enjoy something, right?
Yeah.
And when you lock yourself too much into like, oh, I need to perfect it. People is like, what's the perfection, right? That was just an interesting moment lah, because you would like, when you get to sit down with like, I would consider these guys like the best in Singapore, like
some of the best in Asia.
Yeah, like creatively, like in theory and in execution, right?
Yeah.
The problems everyone goes through is quite the same lah.
Yeah.
This is a bit reassuring lah, you know. So just an interesting tidbit.
That's crazy. Man, there's so much that we can unpack with you, and hopefully we can do another episode in the future as well. But thank you so much, Dave, for being on the podcast with us today. I hope you guys took away some biscuits to apply in your daily lives. Even if you're not a musician, right? Put in the effort. Stay humble. Work through that shit. Get better a little bit day by day. So many things here. And I feel like we were talking about support just before the recording started, right?
Okay.
And like we were talking about how there's an increase in support for local music now. I think recently shout out Tidal, they had their showcase and like I think 200 people showed up for that showcase. And Tidal, bunch of young guys, freaking talented. These guys are great all guys. Malaysian and people showed up and I'm like, you know what? Actually, maybe we really need to just be like, okay, just go. Just get up off your seats and go, right? Because that's what you do every Wednesday night. Every Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday night. What's happening on that one?
On my day, on my weekly,
your gigs and stuff.
All right. So the gigs that I do on the weekdays, right? That's like that's my pocket money. Okay. So if I gig more on the weekdays, I get to spend more.
Oh,
essentially. But also the weekday gigs it's networking. You know, you as a musician, right? I've got to work with a lot of different musicians.
Yeah.
And because I don't have a set band, so I need to be able to work with a lot of different musicians who know my repertoire. Because I don't play songs the way that they're normally played. I have my own versions for stuff.
Yeah.
You know, so that's where I work with different band setups. You know, I meet new musicians. So essentially my week lah. my week. I've got a few regular gigs, which in places with there's this one place, Porkville.
Yes.
In PJ. It's a great place, a great spot. It's really like home for me, where I essentially just to get to go there and try music. And people can come and jam, and musicians will just come and hang out. It's a safe space. There's no pressure, and people are actually there sitting there just wanting to enjoy music.
Wow.
You can play whatever you want, you know? Provided it's good lah, but like provided it's good lah, but
It's like Fight Club lah.
yeah, but you play whatever you want, and you get that joy from music, that joy from playing what you want, where you want, with who you want to play it with.
I gotta check this place out. What's it called again?
Porkville.
like Barbie.
Yeah, straight up.
Okay.
We'll check that out.
Let me
But
Google that.
thanks so much again, Dave, for being on this week's episode. Also, Slamat Hari Deepavali. Happy Deepavali to all of our Hindu listeners.
Yeah.
It's a great day.
Shout out.
Hope you guys are enjoying your break. If you're not listening to this on Deepavali, then it's still a belated Deepavali for you guys. I hope you guys had a great celebration with your family and friends. Hope you guys are safe. This week's song recommendation is it will either be David singing. David should be singing a bit lah.
Right.
He'll get to do a couple of songs. But this week's song recommendation is David.
I'll be your shelter, I'll be your storm, I'll make you shiver, I'll keep you warm. Whatever weather, baby, I'm yours. Be your forever, be your flame, baby, I'll be your everything. 1, 2, 7, 9. Well, I'm not sure what this is gonna be, but with my eyes closed, all I see is the skyline through the window, the moon above you and the streets below. And hold my breath as you're moving in, and taste your lips and feel your skin. When the time comes, baby, don't run, just kiss me slowly.
You know what else is great to listen to? Not as sweet as David's voice, but we're also on Spotify and Apple Music and YouTube. Get all of your fixes for your podcast right there.
Get that.
It's a lot. There's so much for you to consume. Quick shout out to Keith from Australia, who reached out, dropped a very sweet message. He and his wife have been listening to the podcast for ages, and they're Malaysians in Australia. He says that it feels like home when he listens to it.
Oh,
man. Big shout out! Thanks so much for the sweet, encouraging words. We really appreciate it. The team really, really appreciates it, and we hope that this makes your day in some way or form. Yeah,
beautiful. Keith.
Where can people find more of you, David?
Hey.
Oh, you can check out my Instagram, DAVSOH.
DAVSOH.
Nice.
That's pretty much it. You can check out my music on Spotify. I have one song on Spotify.
Yes.
But go and play it. I hope you enjoy it. Hopefully there'll be more soon.
Hopefully
like you said, just put it out there.
Put it
tomorrow is coming.
Don't worry. We stopped making videos for 5 years as well.
That's also, we gotta start putting it out there.
Putting that there.
Put yourself out there and join us on the Discord community at discord.gg/thetakeaway-table. That's discord.gg/thetakeaway-table. Exclusive announcements happening this quarter because we're working towards something. We did talk about that, Jeremy. We were working towards something and we're excited.
It's coming.
But yeah, it's coming. But aside from that, I think that's about it.
That's it.
We'll see you guys in the next episode. Please be safe, take care, stay safe, and keep those asses clean.
Okay.